This training video will cover the mobile device management feature of VIPRE Business, what it does, and how to configure and use it. During this training, we'll cover the following topics. We'll start with Android device management and cover available policy options, installation, a product tour of the agent on the device, and a look at the threat remediation process. For iOS devices, we'll then look at their policy options, installation, and how the product looks on the device. To view the Android policy settings, select an Android policy and click Policy Properties. Under Email Alerts and Scanning is the option to set one or more email addresses to receive alerts on detection of a virus. When adding or editing addresses, you can set the level at which to alert. When you select a level, threats at that severity or higher will trigger an alert. Under Android Device Management are some device-related settings. We can check this box to enable automatic scanning of applications as they are installed, and memory cards when they are connected to agents or when agents disconnect from being docked with computers. We also have options for setting up scanning schedules, which can either be daily or weekly. Enabling this option will archive the agent event files. This should be enabled only at the request of tech support for troubleshooting purposes and is otherwise not needed. Android agents download and update definitions themselves. There are no settings for this in the console, and Android agents do not pull the definitions from the VIPRE server like Windows agents. Also, threats can only be remediated on the device, not through the console. Let's look at how an Android agent is deployed on a device. To add an agent, we can right-click in the policy and choose Add and Install Agents. This will bring up this screen. In here we have a set of instructions for downloading the Android Agents app from Google Play, as well as an access code that will associate the device with our VIPRE site. Both of these items can be copied by the buttons below to be easily sent to users. To actually install the agent, we will have to switch over to the Android device. Here we have brought up the VIPRE Business Mobile Security app in Google Play. We can then tap Install to begin. We will have to accept the permissions given to this app by clicking Accept and Download. Once we've downloaded the app and launched it, we will see this screen. Here we must input the user's name, along with the access code that was generated on the console. Once we have that typed in, we can scroll down and tap Next to proceed. We will have to accept the app as a device administrator by tapping Activate. We will then see this screen, which informs us that the agent app is now fully installed. This device will then appear as an agent under the default policy for Android. The agent will be named per the username that was entered during install, followed by the device model. Now that we have it installed on our device, let's take a look at the Android agent's user interface. Tapping Antivirus would bring us to these options. Here we can choose to run a full scan, a quick scan, or see the details for the last scan that was run. Tapping Lost Device would show us the available features, but this screen is actually only a list of those features. Tapping these options won't do anything, as they must be activated by an administrator via the console. Tapping Settings would bring us to this option for showing the notification icon, which is the small version of VIPRE's tray icon that can be seen in the top left here. Please note that even if this option is disabled, the icon will still appear when a scan is running and when threats are found. There is one further screen of the UI, which we can view by bringing down this menu and selecting About. In this screen, we can see the registered user, definitions version, software version, and device ID for our agent. We can also review the end-user license agreement and uninstall the app from here. Let's take a look at what happens when this agent detects a threat. It's important to note that threats detected on Android agents cannot be remediated from the console. They must be remediated locally on the device. The administrator can still opt to receive notification emails when threats are detected on Android devices, so they aren't left out of the loop. When a threat is detected, we will also be provided with a warning such as this. Tapping Threats Found will bring us to this screen, which contains some more details on the threat. We can then tap Remove Malware to proceed with uninstalling this malicious app, since Android malware actually comes in the form of bad applications. These next steps may differ depending on the device and the version of Android installed on it. On our Android 2.2 phone, we will have to tap OK here to uninstall the app, then OK again once it's finished uninstalling. Now that the bad app is uninstalled, we will see this notification to let us know that the threat has been removed. iOS policies have two settings pages. The first is Device Passcode, which contains the option for allowing administrators to manage the passcodes for this policy's devices. Check this box to enable this feature. We can then choose to allow these options. The first will allow users to use less secure sequential characters in their passcodes. The second will require the use of both letters and numbers in passcodes. We can then further specify requirements for passcodes with these options, such as minimum length, minimum number of required non-alphanumeric characters, maximum age for a code before a new one must be used, and maximum failed attempts at entering a passcode before data is wiped from the device. Under Wi-Fi networks, we can configure Wi-Fi connections for this device, which might prove useful for allowing the device to access a business's wireless without having to give out the SSID or password to the users. Clicking Add would bring up this window and allow us to add a network. Here we can enter the SSID and security information for the network and configure if the device should connect to it automatically. If we'd like to add a network that uses a proxy, we could check this box and click Configure Proxy to add our proxy information. The iOS agent has no malware scanning component. To deploy an iOS agent, we can right-click in an iOS policy, then choose Add and Install Agents. We would then see a screen very similar to the one that is brought up for Android agents, which gives us instructions for downloading the agent from the App Store, as well as an access code that will associate it with our network. As before, we can copy these with the buttons below them for easy pasting into an email. On our device, we will have to download and install the VIPRE Business mobile security app. Upon launching the app, this is what we see. We can then tap Sign Up. In this screen, we will need to enter a name for our phone, then the access code that was generated from the console earlier, and then tap Complete Registration. Once this information registers successfully, we will see this screen where we can tap Complete Enrollment. We will then be brought to the profile installation for the VIPRE agent. Here we can see a description of the profile and tap Install to proceed. We will then see this warning informing us that we are allowing our device to be managed remotely by an administrator, and we can tap Install again to proceed. The profile will then be installed, and we will see this screen when it's finished, where we can tap Done to close this dialog and open the agent. There isn't too much for a user to manage on an iOS agent. On the app, users will be able to see the name and status of their device here. They can tap About for more information, including the privacy policy, terms of service, and licensing information for this app. The agent version can also be seen in this screen. Since this agent is managed by the console, that's about all the users can do. They will see these two configuration profiles on the device, and if the administrator has chosen to manage their passcode, users will see this warning, indicating that they must set a passcode within 60 minutes of the agent app being installed. If they don't set a passcode, they will be locked out of the device and must contact the administrator to reset it. This concludes the training program for managing mobile devices with VIPRE Business. Thank you.